Tribes is delighted to welcome a new sponsor, and it is Property Master Academy, and they are taking over our Property Seminars Tribe, and I'm joined by co-founder Mark Lloyd. And Mark, it's lovely to welcome you to Property Tribes, and you're joining us at a very interesting time in our sector and indeed in the property education arena, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a moment. But first of all, just tell us a little bit about the history of your business and how you started it and how long you've been going.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for the welcome, Vanessa. So I started investing in property about 19 years ago, and whilst we had another company, so we were running a telecommunications company at the time, myself and Jackie, who was my main business partner. But we sold that in 2009, and we were just trying to decide what are we going to do with that money. It wasn't a great deal of money, but it was enough to get us do something else, and we decided to start building more of our portfolio. And in order to do that, we thought, well, we need to learn. So we found an education company. Turned out not to be a great one, but it was called Tigrant. I'm sure you've all heard that name. And we spent, I think it was about £45,000 with them for not a lot, really, but it got us going. And from an investment perspective, we made our money back on our first deal. So that was I thought was a good deal at the time. And so we kind of progressed that, and we were invited to join their mentoring team, which we did for a short period of time, but found we didn't like the way they operated. And so we left, decided we're just going to focus on building our portfolio. But what happened was we had a lot of people following us at the time from within Tigrant, new students, existing students. And so we set up a number of one-day events it was just really like a Q&A, an open Q&A, just come along, because they were pinging me all the time, asking me questions, primarily myself, not Jackie. And I said, look, I'm getting to spend so much time talking to these people. Let's just set aside a day. We'll answer any questions. Jackie will be there. I'll be there. Just come along. And they proved to be quite successful. But the whole idea was only to run one day. That was it. We never had an idea for a training company at all. And following that one day, we then started running them every single month for the following year. That got a bit tiresome. So I sat down and thought, okay, how can we deal with this? And we then set up the company. So all in all, started probably about 10 years ago in one format or another, formally more like about 8 years ago, I'd say. And the majority of what we do is not training so much, it's more mentoring. So we've run training courses, we tried to do those. And of course, there's much larger companies offering them, as you know, like Progressive, PIN, and so on. And we couldn't really compete on their marketing budgets. So we thought, well, let's focus on what we're good at, which is getting results. And to get results, we felt mentoring was the best option.
I'm really interested what you said, Mark, about you went on a course and you invested a lot of money. You weren't happy with it. I'm interested on two counts. First of all, because you had the desire to invest in your knowledge. And I think that's a real mindset thing to want to do that. But secondly, you went through another training company, and as you said, you didn't feel it was particularly good value for money. And then you kind of probably wised up to some of the very slick and compelling marketing tactics they use and so on. And then you thought, actually, I want to do this, but something more perhaps ethical and responsible. Is that a fair thing to say?
Yeah, because I speak to loads of people that have been looking to get into property or have been with other companies and tried this, and they've moaned about it because they said it's not worked. And I said, well, I try and understand, is it them that's not worked, or is it the company that's not worked? And kind of sometimes it's a mixture of the two. Sometimes they were oversold, and I think that does happen a lot, unfortunately, where they're promised pipe dream without actually talking to the person and actually finding out, what, are you actually suitable? Do you have the right kind of mindset? Do you have funds available? Are you going to be able to make it work? Because we won't take anybody on if we don't think it's going to work. And I'll be totally upfront with them. I'll say, look, come back in a year's time. In fact, I've got 3 or 4 people at the moment. I just said, look, it's not right, okay? I'm glad you want to join us, but the time is not right. Come back when you can A, afford it, B, you're not going to be stressed out about it, and thirdly, usually your partner needs to consent as well. So ask your husband, wife, whatever it might be, and then come back to us. And some do, some don't. But that's the kind of way we prefer to operate. So we kind of choose the people we want to work with rather than a numbers game of getting 200 people in a room and then doing this massive sell and run to the back of the room and all that kind of. We don't. We work with very small numbers each year.
Well, that's so refreshing to hear, Mark. And you have come on board with Property Tribes as our training partner. And there's certain quarters of the industry that says that Property Tribes is hostile to trainers. You obviously don't agree with that. I think you're of the kind of mindset that we 100% subscribe to education, but it has to be done in a responsible and ethical manner. And I feel that by you wanting to come on board with Property Tribes, you're more aligning yourself with that kind of view than perhaps some of the other, shall we say, more high profile for all the wrong reasons kind of trainers.
Yeah, I think it's also, I mean, one of the reasons why we joined the organisation that Cyril Thomas set up, the Property Educators Accreditation Scheme. We were one of the first members to be invited to join that, and I think it's indicative of the members that are now on there. Really, you won't. There are quite a few that you won't see on there. Probably will never see on there, because of just the way they operate. And we've tried to operate, ethically, morally, in the right way with the people that we deal with. We're not there to extract every single cent out of somebody for their training. Whilst I don't guarantee that they're going to get results, I know from what we've done with people, they will make more than what their investment is with us back, and a lot more over the period of time they're with us. And that's testament, I think, to the way the way we operate, and also because we come from a business background, but we work with small numbers. That's really the critical thing for us is, on average in a year, between myself, Jackie, and we have one other business partner as well that works on some aspects, we probably work with about 30 people. That's it.
Mm. So you're able to offer that very, very one-to-one, personal, bespoke attention, not just being somebody being a number of in 400, 600. Some of the groups in these other companies are absolutely enormous, and people don't get what they were promised from the trainer as a result of that. I do feel that you have a bit of a conundrum, Mark, because a lot of these trainers, their marketing is very sophisticated. It's very compelling. They're saying you can be a millionaire in a year with no money. That's quite an easy way to get people into a marketing funnel. You don't do that.
That's right. I think we made a decision early on that kind of model didn't work for us. It didn't work for us because we'd been through it. We when we paid Tigrant £45,000 for our training and mentorship. By the way, the mentorship was all of 3 days. We didn't get value for money at all, really. And we were in a group of people, certainly for the training aspect, of 60, 100, 200 people on some training courses. And it's if you're in that kind of volume of people, when you ask a question, the stock answer is fantastic question. We'll answer that later, and it never gets answered. So we felt we couldn't operate that way. The only way we're going to operate was to actually be able to answer people's questions. And we do one 2-day course, which is like an introductory course for people, whether they're kind of introducing to first time to property or people intermediate, just need to refresh, that kind of thing. But we keep, again, the numbers are quite limited. We have no more than 25 people on that 2-day course because we want to make sure that whatever questions they've got are answered.
Brilliant. Well, that, again, very, very refreshing to hear. I started off this interview by saying you've joined us at an interesting time. It's certainly in the wealth creation industry. A few weeks ago, you're probably aware that it was discovered that the Dabners had caused about 30 million of investor losses. The Dabners were well-known mentors within the kind of property circuit. And today we've heard that Glenn Delve, another well-known mentor and developer, his company Osea Group have gone into administration. I'm hearing that there are lots of investors affected. There's quite a bit in the media at the moment about how these kind of companies and mentors bring our sector into disrepute. Which is why we've been very much campaigning for regulation of the wealth creation industry. But you did mention Ps. That's definitely a step in the right direction. And I just wondered what were your views on this sector being regulated?
I think it's a difficult one because we are essentially in the wealth creation industry. And I think, you know, if you associate property with other aspects of the wealth creation industry, like foreign exchange trading, for example, crypto, they're kind of a lot riskier than property, and they're not regulated in any aspect whatsoever. And I think it's a difficult one to actually answer. I think there needs to be more done from within. The companies you've highlighted, and only heard about Glendale on Wednesday, but there's also obviously Asset Academy as well, which has
Oh
just
yes, sorry, I forgot about that one as
recently
well.
gone
Yes,
with
that's
with
three.
Martin Roberts fronting that, and he's a well-known name. But of course, he fronted for Tigrant as well, so he's earned quite a lot of money with that. And a lot of people, I think, were moaning, "Well, hang on, it's not Martin Roberts." Well, actually, he is. He's a shareholder in the company. He's benefited quite substantially out of Asset Academy, so yes, his name should be in the paper. But you know, I think it's a difficult one. I think people need to, you know, we're adults at the end of the day, and I appreciate that some of these companies operate a very slick sales machine. I've seen it in operation, but also some of we are adults and we should take our own personal responsibility. And I know that might sound a little bit harsh to some people that have perhaps suffered as a result. They've been sold that dream, but by the same token, perhaps they shouldn't have been there in the first place. And that's where the problems have arisen. I think it's they've been attracted in by the slick marketing, which is where the issue is, not necessarily by what's been provided, which they shouldn't have joined in the first place. And that's why I say
Mm.
we weed out those kind of people. It's quite interesting, actually. I don't know whether this is more to do with our backgrounds than anything else, but a lot of the people we deal with are either already business owners or earn quite a decent income, six-figure income, and have kind of already understand how to actually approach a business such as property, or have an idea of how they should approach it, but just need the guidance to tell them, take them there.
I think that that's really because, Mark, you do have business experience and you are coming at it from that angle combined with your property investment experience. So I think it's very much a case of you're attracting the right kind of person to you because you are doing this in a sustainable and responsible manner. And, you know, that's why we were delighted that you wanted to join as our training partner, because we know, you know, we've met at shows and whatnot, and we've had various chats. We know that you really do care about this sector like we do, and you want people to have a positive experience of it. Let's just talk now about your main product, which is your mentorship. What do people, if they qualify and you think they're a good fit for you, what do they get for that?
Yeah, sure. So the first thing is, I mean, they do need to be qualified, because there is an application form that they have to go through, and that's from that we assess. We'll have a conversation with them before we kind of will invite them. But what they get, so it's a 12-month program. We run two main programs. We run one which is aimed at the more traditional building a portfolio, buy-to-lets, HMOs, whatever strategy they want to follow there. But we separate it out a development one, because that's a little bit more complex. These are different mindset. But essentially, the way the two operate, they operate over a 12-month period. We generally will meet up at least once a month as a group, and the group is, let's say, roughly 10 people in the group. That'll be either myself and Jackie, or Andrew is the other partner we've got. And that's really for a day of either, you know, bit of motivation, inspiration, education. But more importantly, we look at four aspects. What have you done? What's your progress against target? What are your challenges? What are you doing next? There are four main things we focus in on. So we meet up at least once a month. We also meet up mid-month online, but they can have access to us at any time. They can call us at any time. They just schedule a call. It's just say, "Mark, I need a quick call." Yeah, fine. Check the diary, book it in, and we'll have a call. So that they have access to us virtually throughout the whole year, but we have certain scheduled times. They can also get access to an online training portal. So we've got a lot of stuff that we recorded over the past few years, particularly during lockdown. So when we didn't have much else to do, so we recorded a lot of stuff during lockdown. So that's all, they have access to all that as well. All documents that we have, all agreements that we have, all templates that we have, everything that we've got, they have access to. And we're continually adding on to that as well. They fill out, there's a weekly report we ask them to fill out, which gives us like a progress report. So that gives us an early indicator if they're struggling with any particular issues. I think that's about it, actually. Yeah.
Okay, so you kind of hold them accountable, you keep them on track. You give them direction, because I think it's very easy to get overwhelmed, not knowing what step to take next. And I think that that's a good summary of a true mentorship, and that you're there to answer questions if they need you. You're there to challenge them, make them take action. So that's all good. I think as we close this out, Mark, I would say a lot of the property trainers are people that have got successful property training businesses and then use that money to invest in property. It seems to me that you came from the other direction. You had a successful property portfolio first, and then you decided to kind of set up a training company based on your own experiences of property education. And I think that's such an important point for people to take on board. When you kind of weigh up your kind of daily routine, how much is it dealing with your own portfolio? How much is it dealing with your property training business?
It was probably 35–40%, I suppose. More looking for new projects now, because we have a very much hands-off approach as far as our portfolio is concerned. But we also have a finance company, property finance company as well, a crowdfunding platform. So, and that takes again a small amount of my time as well. So it's, I suppose it's pretty fairly even, about a third each on the three
Okay.
businesses. I'm still looking for deals. So yeah, there are, I think there are opportunities out there. There are opportunities at whatever stage the market is at, and it's just knowing what to look for. That will change. At certain times there'll be certain things that'll be better than others. But that's just business, right? Property is not unique. It's like any other business. It operates in certain cycles, and you've got to understand those cycles and what works at certain periods of an economic cycle, and ones that work better at other times.
Yes, no, I totally agree. That's one of the things I love about property, that whenever there is a dark cloud, you can always find a silver lining. And I think good people help you towards that silver lining. And I think you're one of those people, Mark. And hopefully you can answer any questions that people may have about your training and your different your training days, that people can start out when they're just, wanting to dip their toe in, and also your mentorship. It'd be great if you could join our conversations.
Yeah, happy to. More than happy to.
All right, Mark. Well, welcome on board to Property Tribes, and we'll put the link to Mark's website underneath this video, and you can go along and have a look at what he offers. And if you've got any questions, do ask them below the video, and I'm sure Mark would be very happy to answer. But for now, Mark, thanks very much, and we'll no doubt see you somewhere down the property trail. We've got the Property Investor Show coming up and all that good stuff, so we'll see you in person soon.
Yeah, thanks, Vanessa. Thank you.